Now coming to the DSM-5 diagnostic criteria for premenstrual dysphoric disorder. As per the DSM-5, patient must fulfill all the criteria starting from criteria A to criteria G. Criteria A entails that in the majority of the menstrual cycles of preceding year, patient must fulfill at least 5 of the following symptoms, which start during the pre-week menses, improves during the menstrual phase, and absent or minimal during the post-week menses. Criteria B entails that patient must fulfill at least one of the following core symptoms. First one is the marked affective lability. Second one is the marked irritability, anger, or increased interpersonal conflict. Third one is the marked depressed mood or feelings of the hopelessness or self-deprecating thoughts. And fourth one is the anxiety, tension, or feeling of being keyed up or on edge. Criteria C entails that patient must have at least one of the following 7 symptoms. First one is a decreased interest in the activities which may be related to their work, school, family, hanging up with friends, society, or their hobbies. Second one is a decreased or difficulty in concentration. Third one is the decreased energy, lethargy, fatigue, or tiredness. Fourth one is the marked changes in the appetite which may be decreased, increased, or have cravings for specific foods. Fifth one is the insomnia or hypersomnia. Sixth one is the feeling of being overwhelmed or out of control. And seventh one is the physical symptoms which may manifest as a breast swelling or tenderness, joint or muscle pain, bloating or increase in the weight gain. Criteria D entails that these symptoms causes clinically significant distress or impairment in their functioning. Criteria E entails that these symptoms cannot be explained by the another mental disorders like major depressive disorder, persistent depressive disorder, panic disorder, or personality disorder. Criteria F entails that criteria A should be confirmed by the at least prospective rating scales in at least 2 of the menstrual cycles. And criteria G entails that these symptoms are premenstrual symptoms cannot be explained by the another substances, medications, or medical disorders like the hyperthyroidism. Now coming to the clinical features. Premenstrual syndrome and premenstrual dysphoric disorder are cyclic psychosomatic illnesses where symptoms appear during the luteal phase, especially during the late luteal phase, and disappear during the menses or during the post-week menses. Here patient has both psychic and somatic symptoms. Psychic symptoms involve various emotional, cognitive and behavioral symptoms, whereas somatic symptoms has range of physical symptoms. First I will discuss about psychic symptoms, then physical symptoms. Patients of the premenstrual syndrome and premenstrual dysphoric disorder has various emotional reactions which manifest as a lability of the affect, that is they have the sudden mood swings and excessive sensitivity to rejection, criticism or failures. They may also feel anxiety, restlessness or feeling on edge. They may also have the irritable, angry, hostile or quarrelsome behaviors. They may also have the depressed mood, feelings of the hopelessness or self-critical thoughts. They feel these emotional reactions on trivial events or without any apparent reasons. For example, on one day morning from awakening from the sleep, they may feel sad, angry or anxious. Some patients either externalize these emotional reactions or other patients may internalize these emotional reactions. For example, on externalization, they may scold someone, for example, their children, their husband or mother-in-law. And other patients, when they internalize these emotional reactions, they may have the self-critical thoughts and ruminations. Cognitive symptoms manifest as a difficulty focusing on given tasks. They may also have the decreased interest in activities which may be related to their usual day-to-day activities like self-care, like combing, dressing, etc., or small day-to-day kitchen tasks, or their pleasurable activities like hobbies, meeting and chatting with other peoples. Because they are unable to get pleasure or they have the decreased interest, either they less participate in these activities or they avoid these activities, which leads to their social withdrawal or decreased communications. Behaviorally, these patients may also feel having a decreased energy, fatigue, tiredness or weakness. Even a small day-to-day tasks make them fatigued or tired easily. Biologically, the patient may also have the decreased sleep or excess sleep. They may also have the less eating or overeating behaviors. They may also have the special craving or excess craving to sweet and salty foods. They feel the overwhelmed, helpless and out of the control. They feel that situation cannot be controlled and they think on the negative aspect of every situation. Now coming to the physical symptoms. Here patient has the various physical symptoms like eruption of the acne, breast tenderness, breast swelling, joint muscles pain or edema at the various parts of the body, or GI symptoms like the constipation, abdominal discomfort, diarrhea, etc. Many women, around 80 to 90% of women feel these symptoms, but they don't have the impairment of their functioning. They able to perform their usual day-to-day activities, social activities or occupational activities. Then these symptoms are called the molymina. Some women, around 20 to 40% of the women have at least one of these symptoms and they have the difficulty performing their usual day-to-day activities, social or occupational activities. Then these symptoms are called the premenstrual syndrome. And around 3 to 8% of the women have at least 5 of these symptoms and they have the difficulty performing their functioning. Then these symptoms are called the premenstrual dysphoric disorder. But to confirm the diagnosis of the premenstrual syndrome or premenstrual dysphoric disorder, we have at least a daily prospective recording of 2 menstrual cycle related symptoms. And these symptoms are recorded on the various scales. These scales may be a Prince scale or COPE scale or DRSP scale. DRSP scale means daily recording of severity of physical symptoms. Prince scale means prospective recording of impact and severity of physical symptoms. And COPE scales means calendar of physical experiences. Now coming to the pathophysiology and etiology of premenstrual syndrome and premenstrual dysphoric disorder. For that there are various neurochemical, neuroanatomical and neurophysiological theories. As per the neurochemical theory, symptoms of the premenstrual syndrome and premenstrual dysphoric disorder occur due to less serotonin and GABA transmission by the less activation of the estrogen and progesterone respectively. But before going into detail of this pathophysiology, first of all we have to understand normal physiology. Normally estrogen increases the serotonin transmission by activating the serotonin transporter gene and inhibiting the vesicular monoamine transporter and monoamine oxidase A gene by action on the estrogen receptor 1. And progesterone increases the activity of the GABA A through its metabolite allopregnanolone. And as we know that the symptoms of the premenstrual syndrome occur during the late luteal phase, that is a week just before the menses, and these symptoms disappear during the menstrual period or during the post-week menses. So what happens during this late luteal phase? During this late luteal phase, there is a steep fall of the estrogen and progesterone. But this event occurs in patients with the premenstrual dysphoric disorder and patients without the premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So what causes the symptoms of premenstrual syndrome and premenstrual dysphoric disorder? To understand this pathophysiology, there are the two models have been proposed. First one is the CNS altered sensitivity model and second one is the GABA withdrawal model. As per the CNS altered sensitivity model, there is a single nucleotide polymorphism of the estrogen receptor 1 and due to this polymorphism, estrogen is not able to activate the serotonin transporter gene and is not able to inhibit the vesicular monoamine transporter and monoamine oxidase A gene. So due to this phenomenon, there is a low level of the serotonin occur. Now coming to the GABA withdrawal model. As per this GABA withdrawal model, due to chronic elevation of the allopregnanolone, there is a subsensitivity or decrease in the number of the GABA A receptors. And when this allopregnanolone decreases during the late luteal phase, it causes the symptoms of the GABA withdrawal like alcohol withdrawal or benzodiazepine withdrawal. Other than these neurochemicals, there are the other chemicals which have also been found abnormal, like there is a low level of the endorphin or prostaglandin due to the less conversion of the linoleic acid into the linolenic acid, and there is a compensatory increase in the level of the brain derived neurotropic factor and heat shock protein 17, and there is an increased level of the aldosterone and renin angiotensin system. Now coming to the neuroanatomical and neurophysiological model. As per the neuroanatomical model, there is an increase in the gray matter volume in the cerebellum, hippocampus and the parahippocampal gyrus. And as per the neurophysiological model, one of the studies has used proton magnetic resonance spectroscopy, and this study has found that there is a less activity of the GABA A. Now coming to the risk and prognostic factors. These are related to environment, genetic and physiological, and cause modifiers. Environment related. There is a stress, history of interpersonal trauma, seasonal changes, and socio-cultural aspects of female sexual behavior in general and female gender role in particular. Genetic and physiological. Although heritability of premenstrual dysphoric disorder is unknown, but it is 30 to 80% for the premenstrual symptoms. Cause modifiers. Oral contraceptive pills decreases the intensity of the premenstrual symptoms. So, women who take the oral contraceptive pills has lesser intensity of the premenstrual symptoms as compared to women who do not take. Now coming to the treatment. Women experiencing only mild premenstrual symptoms without any impairment of functioning require only a non-pharmacological treatment, whereas women experiencing premenstrual syndrome or premenstrual dysphoric disorder require non-pharmacological treatment, pharmacological treatment and or surgical treatment. In non-pharmacological treatment, doctors psychoeducate the patient about the biological basis of illness and the prevalence, that is how much the problem is common. After getting this information, patient usually feels relief. They also feel that now situation is under their control. Along with this, doctor also provides certain tips to have the healthy lifestyle. For example, in case of the diet, doctor advise the patient to have a complex carbohydrates and proteins and avoid the simple sugars, caffeine, alcohol, excess smoking and the salty foods. Doctor also advise the patient to have a regular exercises, particularly aerobic exercises at least 30 minutes per day. Doctor also advise the patient to have a consistent and adequate sleep schedule. Doctor also advise the patient to maintain the daily record of their symptoms throughout the menstrual cycle. Now coming to the pharmacological treatment. Here we have the specific drugs like the serotonergic drugs and hormonal drugs, supportive drugs like the diuretics and painkillers, certain herbal medicines and vitamins and minerals. Serotonergic drugs are the gold standard treatment of the premenstrual syndrome and premenstrual dysphoric disorder. The dose of these serotonergic drugs in case of the premenstrual syndrome is similar to the dose which is given in the depression. But the onset of action of these serotonergic drugs in case of the premenstrual syndrome or premenstrual dysphoric disorder is very rapid, that is hours to days. But contrary to this, these serotonergic drugs takes a long time, say a few weeks in case of the depression. This is due to the induction of the allopregnanolone by the serotonergic drugs in case of the premenstrual syndrome or premenstrual dysphoric disorder. These serotonergic drugs convert the 5-alpha DHP into the allopregnanolone. These serotonergic drugs have the 4 dosing modalities in case of the premenstrual syndrome or premenstrual dysphoric disorder. First one is the daily dosing, second one is the intermittent dosing, third one is the semi-intermittent dosing, and fourth one is the symptom onset dosing. In daily dosing, serotonergic drugs are given throughout the menstrual cycle, whereas in intermittent dosing, serotonergic drugs are given only during the luteal phase, and in the semi-intermittent dosing, along with giving the daily dose of these serotonergic drugs, doses are increased particularly during the luteal phase. And fourth one is the symptom onset dosing. In symptom onset dosing, serotonergic drugs are given only during the symptom appearance, that is during the late luteal phase. Now coming to the hormonal drugs. As we know that the symptoms of premenstrual syndrome or premenstrual dysphoric disorder occur during only the ovulatory cycles. So these hormonal drugs are given to block these ovulations. Under this category we have the combined oral contraceptive pills, GnRH agonist, danazol and the tebonol among various other drugs. Under the combined oral contraceptive pills, the most commonly used combination is the drosypyrenone and ethinyl estradiol. In GnRH agonist, various drugs are available like leuprolide, naproxen, etc. But during GnRH agonist administration, we have to keep certain information, as the GnRH agonist blocks the ovulation, and they also decreases the concentration of the estrogen and progesterone. Because of the reduction of the estrogen and progesterone, that is a medical menopause, they can cause the post-menopausal like symptom. So if we have to give these drugs for more than 6 months, we have to administer the combined estrogen and progesterone as a add-back therapy. Now coming to the vitamins and minerals. Here we have to give the vitamin B6, calcium, vitamin E, magnesium and manganese. But we have to give information that these drugs are given in high doses. So we have to alert about the side effects produced by these drugs. For example, in case of the vitamin B6, it can produce the peripheral neuropathy. Now coming to the herbal medicine. Here we can give chaste berry, evening primrose oil, ginkgo biloba, black kahash, kava kava and St. John's wort. This is all about the premenstrual syndrome or premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Thank you so much for watching this video. Still, if you have any problem, you can comment on the comment box. I will try to solve it. Thank you so much.